I'm Edwin Warfield, the publisher of CityBiz, and I'm honored today to interview Lavie Popack, who is the CEO of Overpass. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me. Much appreciated.
One of the missions of Overpass is to remove the obstacles to working remotely. Can you explain what Overpass does and those obstacles that you're removing?
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, since COVID hit, the world has gone remote. Some companies have made it, a constant. I've continued to operate in a remote environment post COVID, and some companies have gone back to the office. But in my opinion, I think definitely role specific. There are some huge conveniences and lots of value by going global and taking advantage of the global workforce and going remote. However, it's easier said than done. And one of the biggest issues that companies face is around access, onboarding, and accountability. And we make that super easy and simple, specifically around the sales roles, specifically for salespeople. Our goal right now is to focus around the sales role and ultimately grow that out to all of customer engagement, including customer support and technical support and other forms of customer engagement. And the reason for that is because the simple fact of rate disparity between hiring locally and hiring overseas, and then of course the expertise that you could access by going global. And it's not just a matter of expertise, it's a matter of the match, right? The expertise against specifically what you are looking for. So it's very tough when you're going very kind of blinded or going very generic when you put out a job post, let's say, and whatever candidates are applying to a position, you're now interviewing that person to see if the expertise match. It's a process you have to go through to ultimately get to the point of seeing if it's a good match versus indexing the global population of salespeople with a few clicks and seeing if they have the proper industry experience and if they have the accent and the language and if the rate you're looking to pay was the rate that they're seeking. So that's pretty much what I mean by enabling the remote work to occur is the access, the ease of it, the simplicity, and ultimately, of course, it's in remote, so accountability is a huge part of it.
So Overpass was founded in 2014. Can you share some of the key milestones since the launch?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think a major milestone is the fact that I'm still alive today and breathing. We built a tremendous team. We have a great team. Well, we're a remote team. We have a number of people here in the Brooklyn office. We have a number of team members out in Newark, New Jersey, and we have a very large team out in Cluj, Romania, and Israel. And so I think the biggest milestone is putting together a fantastic product development team and marketing and sales team. Sales team is off of our own marketplace that we've hired, and it's been working for us in a tremendous way. But taking on clients, obviously, it was one of our first milestones, and seeing that they go through the entire flow of the product that we've created, and they're able to do that, literally on their own and be successful with it. And from that, ultimately seeing the ROI that they're looking to achieve. And find exactly the type of talent that they want from specifically around sales. So that was the first major milestone around things are all working, right? You could get a client, you could either through whatever marketing efforts you're putting out, and they're going through the flows that you've created. And then the next big milestone is really around marketing, because once you're able to tap into your market, or once you're able to build a product and you see that there's real value there for your end user, then it's a matter of, okay, how do you replicate this? So marketing, I find that most entrepreneurs or startups, CEOs, it's tough for them. It's a tough nut to crack. So the next big milestone is really I wouldn't call it mastering necessarily, because I think we still have a long way to go. but really understanding the landscape of marketing and being able to learn it and apply it and execute on it and get the right team members to systematically execute and grow it. That's a huge component. So of course it's on the product side, ensuring products working, ensuring products giving proper value, but then having a proper marketing machine as well. Still in its infancy in a certain extent. I think I'm a huge believer in marketing. I don't come from a marketing background, but I spent a good few years now throwing myself into marketing. So that was the next big milestone. And then we're now just ultimately looking to grow the company.
So Yamin Bendit was the other co-founder of Overpass. Can you tell us about his background and his role in the company?
Yeah, absolutely. So Yamin is actually a close friend of mine. I grew up with him. And he was working for a company called Teltech. I believe it was called Teltech, at least. Either way, so he was very much involved in product and product creation on the sales side as well with that company. And prior to that, he worked in sales and product as well. So he has I would say close to maybe an 8 or 10 year history around product and sales at different times in his career prior to joining Overpass. And he was instrumental in helping to evolve the product to what it is today.
And so can you share some of the key features of the Overpass platform?
Yeah, absolutely. So at its core, it's like I said, it's you have a world, it's vast, and we all know that sure, accessing the world and for anything simply and easily is great because it's all about access and if you don't you go to your local grocery store and you might be able to find a few things at price at a certain point, but if you imagine Amazon, right? That's what Amazon did, and you could go into one platform and you could find anything you want, and it's essentially a marketplace. So you're getting it hopefully at the best possible prices, at its core, it's giving that ability to bring on the process of pre-vetting a global sales talent pool, like a real marketplace. And a lot of companies out there, a lot of I would call them call centers out there, really kind of put on a facade and imitate themselves, imitate the marketplace and try to make themselves look like a marketplace. But ultimately, it's not a marketplace, right? It's a call center that has a front end website to make themselves look like a marketplace. And the big difference there is you're able to connect with people directly, and you're able to find anything that you could possibly be looking for. Now, obviously, if we're looking at, not on a talent perspective, or on a product, let's say a product perspective, and you're looking for anything, who knows, maybe I need a certain type of crib or a carriage for my kids, or I need a rocking chair that only has 3 legs, and you have these tremendous marketplaces that I could literally find anything I want. So we're essentially doing that for sales talent. So the biggest thing that we've done is have a systematic, repeatable process for tapping into global sales talent, going through a pre-vetting process, onboarding them, going through assessments and training, and then indexing them in a way that can be accessed with just a few clicks on the client side, on the business side. So again, instead of the business going through probably about 10 to 20 steps, if not more, of having to, let's say, call it an Indeed or a ZipRecruiter, of having to pay upfront money and post a job, and then have people respond with resumes and screen those resumes and getting on calls. You rather not paying a penny upfront, creating a free job post, and then accessing the talent that's specifically in line with exactly what it is that you're looking for, and then with a click, you then schedule an interview with this person. And this person could be on the other side of the world. So there are the generic marketplaces of the world. Let's call them freelancer, an Upwork, or a Guru. But because they don't cater niche specifically to sales, there's a massive miss there. And when there's a miss for one, there's an opportunity for another. And that opportunity is a matter of um, orienting the profiles and indexing them based on the attributes, based on when it specifically, the sales role is so unique from every other role, and the needs that a client has, that a business owner has around the sales role. You want them to be a good communicator. You want them to be reliable, dependable. You want them to be empathetic. There are specific needs that you have within the sales role that cannot be indexed. Their tonality, their voice recordings, their accents, what languages they speak. You're not finding, this ability to index and to find and search, and let alone, to do that with ease and onboard them with ease all through one platform. It just doesn't happen. In fact, I've been through it, and prior to, starting Overpass, I went through the process, and if you try to do that specifically around the sales role, some of these generic platforms, you will fail. That's just the reality.
So are you disrupting both the call center business and recruitment and sales recruitment?
Great question. So the answer is no. The answer is it's purely on the sales talent. It's purely from a business perspective. A business has a sales issue. They need to grow sales. So, the tools is very much secondary, and we also have a partner exchange of other types of tools, all types of tools. There's really great partners that we have on our platform. You talk about from the Zoom infos of the world to Trumpet to help you personalize, your microsite, and personalizing emails and video email platforms. And we're creating an ecosystem. We essentially have a partner exchange for businesses because their core pain point is what they just want to grow sales, and they want an easy way to do that. So it's not just a matter of growing the sales talent. Yes, that's the core of it, right? It's the humans, it's the core of it, and we give them the access. But there's strategy that comes along with that. You need to have the proper strategy. There's other tools that you need a proper CRM, whether it's HubSpot or whether it's Salesforce, and getting onto the proper CRM, and then getting onto either the sales or the prospecting tools that will help you in your endeavor. So ultimately, it's our goal is around solving the sales problem for small business.
And so, which industries are you focused on?
Good question. I find that, first of all, it's more service industries, right? The industries that lend themselves more to the inside sales, go-to-market motion. So if you think about what those are, so it's lending, it could be mortgages, cash advance, real estate investments, real estate brokerage, solar, all the forms of energy, like for instance, ESCO, insurance, finance, wholesale. Those are the industries that are most attracted. And SaaS, of course, is a major one for us. The software as a service, just because they're so used to this remote way of operating, and they love innovation. And they're all about learning new things and trying new things and doing things different than the status quo. So they and some of the more older archaic companies out there are not as open, and that's okay, and that's not our target market. So I would say SaaS is a major one for us. And then we have, like I said, the run-of-the-mill mortgage lending, insurance, energy companies out there.
More B2C than B2B, then?
No, I would say it's a pretty even mix, maybe even a little heavier on the B2B side.
And are there any specific companies that you'd like, or case studies you want to share with us?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have a number of them, but there's one in particular. I don't know. I might need to get the consent. I guess I'll just put it out there. So, let me hold back on the name. But essentially, they come on board. They just raised a round of funding. It was a Series B, Series C. They took on about $54 million, and they primarily were looking to utilize those funds for growth, as most startups that raise a nice amount of money do. And, some of it towards product development, but primarily towards growth. And they had a short runway. meaning they had it was a total, I believe, of like 15 months to hit a specific milestone, specific target, and they didn't want to go through the process of hiring in office, even though part of their operations were in office, and they connected with us, and then within 2 months, they had a team of 35 sales reps selling for them, and from that point on, they just continued to grow, and they hit their marks, they hit their revenue marks, and now they're already looking to raise the next round of funding. Ultimately, it gave them that ability to just move really quickly when they otherwise wouldn't be able to. And that company was also very unique in terms of actually having the proper leadership and proper sales management, which is super important because if you're not going to have proper leadership and proper management, and you're just going to hire a bunch of people and they're not going to be managed well, then really your campaign is going to fall apart.
And so what is the key to keeping a great remote sales team in place and happy?
Pretty much what I just said. Manage them as if they were sitting right next to you. Have a proper structure around that. And I could tell you a little bit what I believe that looks like. So that looks like morning meetings. It doesn't have to be long. It shouldn't be long, actually, 15, 20 minutes. You're checking in. You're talking about you could have a themed week. You're talking about some important things for the week that you want them to implement, some best practices that you learn. You're going to have one-on-ones with you guys every other week for an hour. You're going to do your proper due diligence prior to those one-on-ones in terms of looking at CRM hygiene. You're going to be looking at their messaging, if they're personalizing their messaging, if they're exhausting all their leads, what the pipeline looks like, the moving deals to pipeline. And you're going to bring all that up in your one-on-ones. And of course, one of the most important things in your one-on-ones is build a relationship with the person. Build a rapport with that person, build a relationship with them. Because ultimately, we're all emotional creatures, and that's important, and especially when you're remote. So you want to have those morning meetings, you want to have those one-on-ones, you want to close out the day every single day without fail. Don't rely on someone else to close out the day. You need to close out the day as the sales manager, not as executive, not as the CEO, but as the sales manager. You need to close out the day. You need to open the day. You need to have those one-on-ones, and you need to be constantly proactive and reactive coaching.
And can you share your thoughts on the future of work and how Overpass is obviously going to be well positioned to take part of that?
Yeah, sure. It's very possible we're all just going to be like zombies and wearing goggles for the rest of our lives, and we're going to be in a metaverse like working. Who knows? There's lots of billions of dollars, being attributed towards that. So, but assuming that's not going to happen, I think it's going to be a hybrid situation. I think it's going to be role specific. I believe that when it comes to management, leadership, executive level, I think it's extremely important to be collaborative and physically in one structure. And I think when it comes to contributor level roles, more and more of them that are digital facing, specifically digital facing, and I'll get into what I mean by that. I think more as time goes on, more and more of that is going to be distributed. It's going to be remote. And when I say digitally facing, like there are certain roles that just naturally, by the nature of the role, you're on your keyboard, you're on your mouse, you're on your computer. That's just what it is. And then there are other roles that you're not. So I believe like the ones where you're more interacting, more engaging with technology. I think, and the roles that have a wider disparity based on region. I think those roles over time are going to go more and more remote, more and more distributed. Not to say the other contributor roles are not going to be at all, but I think the ones that are, and we already see that, right? Like the engineers of the world, the developers, right? The customer engagement people, the sales people, customer support people, and of course you're going to hire remote marketing people as well, and or HR and finance. I think they're going to be a little bit less, right? And some of the operation stuff is going to be a little bit less. So not to say it's not going to happen, but I just think it's going to be a little bit less. But from a management and leadership perspective, I don't see that going fully remote. I don't, and I still think it's super important to be under one structure.
And so, what are the future growth plans for Overpass? Are there any acquisitions, or is it going to be purely internal growth, or is it going to be some combination of the two?
Yeah, I mean, no acquisitions. We're at this point internally funded. We have been since day one. At some point, maybe we'll be looking to take on funding, but not right now. We are making a big move, actually, working on something. We work on it over the next 3 months, 2 to 3 months, and then we'll be piloting it right after that. So we are going to be looking at, based on persona, who we're looking at, we will be looking to pilot with a few folks and then go from there. But it's really, really exciting. It's very much in line with our vision, but it is taking Overpass to the next level.
Well, Lavie, I want to thank you for your time. It's Overpass has been a fascinating company to learn about, and obviously is filling an important need for people that were really looking for the ability to globally source their sales talent. So I want to thank you for your time today, and we wish you the best of luck going forward.
Thank you, Evan. I appreciate having me.